Well, I'm glad you're still here with us, and it is Business Insight this particular morning. Like I did point out, we're going to be looking at our coffee, and of course, with me in studios here is Gerald Katabazi from Volcano Coffee. In fact, he's the CEO Volcano Coffee, and of course we're going to be looking generally at a couple of things. Of course, as a player, he's going to be discussing with us, especially taking advantage of our coffee subsector here. We earlier on were having this discussion in regards to how best can we then see that jobs are created, or how best can we then find the best jobs for our young people. But you're very welcome.
Oh, thank you so much,
yes.
Harriet.
Yes. So, real quick, Volcano Coffee.
Yes. Volcano.
I know I'm just throwing you into this because of time.
Yeah,
so when we're talking about Volcano Coffee, what are we dealing with?
Volcano Coffee is a Ugandan specialty coffee brand operating in Uganda. We are a human skills development, looking at young folks based in rural areas and peri-urban. Why that? These are the vulnerable groups that we want to really empower with the skills along the value coffee chains. Then they can be able to empower themselves after acquiring our skills. So for sustainability programs and engagements for their own futures. Volcano Coffee is basically a Ugandan brand that originates from volcanic mountains. Yes, so our main source points are from the volcanic mountains. Let's say like Elgon Mountain and Mhavura. That's where we source most of the coffees. And these coffees are specifically taken through a number of channels for quality standards and assurance. We're actually one of the best specialty coffee brand in Uganda today. Nowhere else, yes.
I can see some of this that you did carry along with us. But very interesting. Of course, you'll eventually show us a couple of these. But so you say, well, we need to get into the coffee business, but also have some kind of projects or engagements to make sure that the young people are brought on board. Because there's the cry on jobs, on employment, and things like that. How then did you get to balance these two things? Because that is a whole lot of work to put together.
Traditional coffee is regarded as a crop managed by elders or old people. Yeah, and this is where the question comes. And how do we tap into young people, into the value chains? This is how it is done simply. Young people, actually, when you look at the current statistics from UBOS, you find that there's a lot of rural immigration to urban centers. And this is caused because of there are no jobs in the rural areas. That's one. And young people are challenged to have jobs because they have no money. And in addition to that, they have no markets where they can sell well if happen to have a produce produced. So how can we tap the young people into value chains? The young people love good, sexy, cool ideas. For instance, they love brewing coffee because a number of trained baristas by eye have really showed passion. Because at some moment, after getting the skills, they really look into the business world. They also want to open up their own shops, which is an advantage and a credit. Secondly, they love roasting coffee. Roasting is part of is an activity done after you've gone a number of other processes along the value chain, where you have to make sure that you turn the green coffee, like this one, into a consumable product. So young people really love to roast beans. Yes. So this is also an area that we shall put our attention, and I will also highlight and how can they tap into this activity. So thirdly, young people love coffee, but you know, there is this negativity that has been here in Uganda for a long time, that coffee is traditional for a white man or a rich person or a corporate in Kampala. It's not. Only that how they have been how they have been getting this information is the only area that we need to put our focus. It's wrong. The channels are not there to drive the information at the grassroots. However, if they are given the right content for consuming, definitely they will jump into it. I have a case at Volcano Coffee. We have a number of young people that are frequenting our cafe looking for this best specialty coffee. Thank you.
So what we're seeing here is that you identified what are the areas they're most interested in. Then let us engage them.
Yes.
Yes? That is quite interesting. Because so many times people say, well, yeah, you're talking about getting young people out there into agriculture, into farming, but that's not what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you identified the areas they're most interested in and said, let's engage them. And that was easy for you?
Yeah, it is. It all comes back to the mindset. Of course, there's no way as a young person you can get me into in an activity that I'm not interested in. First of all, we have a challenge to do with the coffee as a country. It's not only young people, even the adults, even the mature people. They have not yet learned what the coffee means to them. They see it as a cash crop because this is the information they got from the colonialists.
Yeah.
Coffee is regarded as a cash crop, meaning you have to farm it and then give it to a white man to drink. That's wrong. Now, how do we need to do this so that the young people, the elder, can tap into the conversation? The conversation can stretch from the brewing section, whereby we have to tap the young people into this activity actively. You understand? We can engage the elderly or these adults on the farming, on the production section, which makes sense at some point. And also, we can create avenues, you understand, like conversations, ongoing conversation, like a platform to say like what UBS has done to me.
Yes.
You understand? And we understand that conversation. Everyone will begin realizing that, no, there's a reason to why we should consume our own coffee. I can give you an example. Like, statistics shows that Uganda produces 4 million bags of coffee for export annually. Yeah. Okay, obviously that's an advantage. That's a credit. You understand? But then, what do you mean by 4 million coffee bags exports? Yet you have a market of 44 million people. Do the math. You find that practically the people you're leaving back can consume this coffee, and you're exporting and leaving them thirsty. So the question is, how can we tap the 4 million bags into the economy? What does that mean? It translates jobs. One, it translates it translates jobs. It also helps the economy grow. You understand? Yeah. So me as a player, I'm looking at how I can design a concept and then share it with a producer or a farm gate person to earn more than what he's currently earning, say like $1 for a kg. What if I advise this producer to add value to his coffee like this, and then it fetches $10? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. It's a conversation. Yes.
And of course, you're saying, where do we place what people in the value chain process here?
Yes. The value chain is huge. It begins with the farmer.
Yes.
When you farm, you automatically need to process your product for consumer levels. Now, you farm, then after farming, you mill it. That's a job. After milling it, you have to take it to a roastery. You understand? That's a job. Remember, between the miller and the roastery, or between the farmer and the miller, there's logistic, transportation. That's a job created. Yeah. And if your production is quite big, like 10 tons plus, meaning each truck that delivers these beans, you're creating a number of jobs like 10 plus. So, ideally, it begins from the farm and it stretches to the cup. So, where we can actually trap the young folks is on the brewing section. Designing the brood better behaviors concepts can help the domestic channels accelerate, because we'll now begin like looking at a crop, you understand, as a valuable one, because it will be generating jobs. That's one. Automatically, we don't need to negotiate, because we're not going even to import this coffee. It's farmed here in Uganda, Rwenzori. It's farmed in the West Nile. It's farmed in Southwest, Chigezi, etc. All these areas produce amazing world-class coffees. So how are we getting to another stage is a question, because we have coffee. Yes. I've given you a number of 4 million bags that we export against 44 million people. What does that justify?
But then that will bring me to something, because like you mentioned, it's now a culture. Where we knew the coffee was grown for the purposes of giving it probably to the colonialists at the time. And now what we're doing is actually continue that and export most of our coffee. And someone will tell you, but Ugandans do not consume.
They do not. Uganda, it's a big question. I encounter that question every day at my store. It's a big question. Ugandans opt for tea, and actually the tea that is also not of the standard because of such negativities. One, our grandparents were taught that coffee is a cash crop. You must farm it, then take it to the milling station. After the milling station, bag it very well, export it. However, when you are coming back to your home, you must come with the tea. You understand? You must come with the tea, because the colonists knew what the benefits of drinking coffee. That's why actually they are ahead of in the entire continent. So we must also refocus. Why was it so? Then coming to the culture, there are so myths. They will tell like, no, ladies are not supposed to drink coffee. These I encounter them every day.
Every day.
Absolutely rubbish. It's not the same. However, I will stretch that, we have different beliefs as players.
Yeah.
And how we market our products is totally different. Now, we must understand that coffee has a lot of benefits, of course. Harriet, before you came here, I guess you have consumed like a number of at least 2 cups. Yeah. That's why you have a sober mind in the morning. That's one benefit. Yeah. So in addition to that, they are taught so because they really need the crop to be exported for their own benefits. As Ugandans, we must now realize that and say no. Let's begin consuming our own what? Coffee. You understand? 2. I'll give you a scenario of like when there are some people like drinking coffee, my heart pumps, I have allergy.
Yeah, they say it's not healthy.
The wrong content they consume. You understand? You can follow the conversation on Twitter. You'll find folks that have been frequenting Volcano Coffee have really appreciated the experience. One, we deal with speciality. What do I mean by speciality? Look at this bin. It's a Ugandan produce from Ruwero. Oh. Yes, from Ruwero. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. When you look at it carefully, it is going to be sold as a premium. What happens to the last destination? These guys are going to regrade it. They get a finest. So what happens to the undergrades? They have done so. It's another story we can talk about. So it's how we are applying. It's how we are applying techniques in one, brewing coffee. Ugandans consume the wrong content. 2, is the roasting process, how we burn the coffee or how we turn it into a consumable product. So if we deal with these 2 challenges, we're able to go. And the economy will grow. Guys will get jobs.
It surprises me when we keep saying Ugandans don't consume coffee.
Yes.
But then you find that coffee has been imported in from wherever. Of course, when our seeds like this are taken in raw form or raw nature, then someone processes it away, and then they bring it in a very beautiful packaging, all kinds and forms and styles of how coffee comes, and people are rushing to the stores to get that imported coffee and consume it.
Yes, that's true.
But we're saying we don't consume coffee.
I did tag a question. What happens after they have regraded?
Regraded, yeah, that is true.
Absolutely, that's money. They can't trash it. Yes, what they do, these are business entrepreneurs. They look back and then tin it for you, then reverse it to Africa, and you will find it at the shelf. What happens at the shelf? You fight actually to buy it. Heavily,
much more expensive.
Much more expensive. You understand? So, this, as I said, it's a conversation. As stakeholders, as local players, and we must digest all this and then come with a proper, strategy to manage it, because it's manageable. We are producers, so why should we have someone to dictate? I'll give you another example. Like someone is dictating, you can't sell this unless you have seen how the New York Exchange market is moving. This guy is determining for you the price. You understand? London determines for Robusta. I'm saying it's not the right way. You understand? We are consuming, we are farming and exporting 4 millions. Can we pull it back and see the reaction? Robusta Ugandan coffee is one of the world's best because it acts as a filler. All these guys you see like blenders, they use Ugandan Robusta. Do we know that? And how much are we selling it to them? So all these are questions, surrounding the questions like we can, sit and digest. And at the end of the day, we come up with a conclusion, a conclusion strategy to contain them. It's possible.
Yeah, we need to find a solution.
Yes. It's we to find a solution. Let them not dictate to our product. Really, we produce in Kigezi, we produce in Elgon, we produce in Rwenzori. That's absolutely not.
Some of the fine.
Yes, so we are losing at some point. And now, in addition to that,
yeah, sure.
they'll force you to sell a raw material. You understand? And then tag questions to the finished value-added product. Why? Do you know what they're protecting? It's a conversation. They are protecting jobs. Someone who's going to the roastery and roast and make a finished product for this is earning.
Sure.
You are giving a raw material, but this someone who is earning massively. You understand? So we must now, as Ugandans, players, both players, I know there are those actually who are doing amazing work to promote the product along the domestic channels, which is absolutely right, good. But then we must put a lot of emphasis to ensure that we remain with the raw material. When we begin dictating, these guys will be forced to buy the value added. It's an advantage.
Yes. And I like what you're pointing out, because now we're looking at the entire process and why coming back home, the coffee is still expensive, and so people will find it much better, easier to access the tea.
Yeah, it's much expensive because you walk around to one of the city cafes.
Yeah.
You don't have 10K, you can't have a latte or a cappuccino.
Yeah.
Yet you're a producer. What does that mean? Yes, because we are in a liberalized market. Our market is open to everyone. And at some point, we don't have guidelines to guide the market. That's why we find such kind of challenges to do with the pricing. Everyone comes up. Yet it's a commodity farmed in Kigezi. And shockingly, you buy a latte at 10K, you understand? These are 20 grams of grounded coffee. You have 150 ml of milk. So when you go into details of cost complications, etc., labor, what wages, entirely the cup costs you like 1,000. So how does the farmer who is waiting to have the raw material on table benefit? We need guilds.
True.
Yeah, we need guilds. Guilds help streamline challenges along the value chains. Guilds, I mean, we can set up cluster the industry, the sector into 3 groups. Absolutely, you begin seeing changes. Because these guys will have now powers to dictate what to be done through their forums. We can have the Roasters Guild, entirely looking at the value chain as roaster players. We can have the Farmers Guild, looking at the farm level and production, etc. We can have the Brewers Guild. These are baristas who are practicing brewing experiences in these coffee shops. So imagine you have the 3 guys, 3 stakeholders in one room. What happens? It's a conversation. It's a conversation.
Sure. And of course, we're seeing that most people in the different coffee shops and things like that actually using imported coffee. Well, originally yours, probably.
Okay.
But then imported
I'll
as
hit on that.
another product.
I'll hit on that. When it comes back to local entrepreneurs or players, including me, business is all about marketing and branding. So as a consumer, you automatically be attracted by a very well packaged product on the shelf, right? Whether it's crap or it's trash, you don't mind, but you're attracted by the packaging. We still have a challenge to do with the standards in Uganda. Quality, standards, and the content itself. So we must begin thinking or engaging the entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs who are into coffee as value addition players, to look into the 3 key areas: standards, quality, and the content. Because you might perhaps buy the content, reaching home, when it is a Ugandan, you're supporting a Bobu campaign, but you reach home, you find it's crap. Then the next day you go on the shelf, you find an imported one. Well, it's somehow tasty. You understand? So you check the difference. So we must also as players, we must get the right content for the consumers. Because if you poorly brand your product, for instance,
sometimes it's overly, the roasting process, sometimes it feels like
that's
it's
the
burnt.
chemical, exactly. So now, that's the challenge. The next challenge I was heading to, like Ugandans don't drink coffee because what we have in the market. Generally, I'm not proud of like the owner of Volcano coffee, but it's so absurd to find a burnt coffee on the shelf. Yeah, coffee is not supposed to be burnt. Coffee, when you are consuming it, you're supposed to identify the 4 areas. That's flavor, that's the aromas, taste, and acidity. So all these must be balancing, and these are which actually constitutes the cup. So when you're talking of the cup, you're not supposed to add in sugar. When you add in sugar, the 4 flavors are gone. Exactly. So you only remain with the aromas and maybe taste. So these are the questions. Technically, can we address them? You see the changes. Yes. That
is true. So because of time, we cannot exhaust this, but a final remark to the people out there that are watching.
Yes.
Because we've identified that there are gaps, but we need them to come and have a joint conversation to make sure that we engage more people, we know what to do, and we know that we can then close those gaps.
Basically, as I said, it's a conversation. I've been doing this for the last couple of years, close to 10 years. Interestingly, there are some folks, young folks, who are tapping my conversation.
Yes.
Like now, every Sunday at Volcano Coffee, there's a coffee talk where we're engaging in topical discussion on how can accelerate our economic growth using coffee as a means of transport. And they're really having very good ideas to share with the world. So what we are doing, what we're going to do is to stay the conversation like this. We are going to stay the conversation. We are going to drive it to another level. We are going to make sure that the conversation does not stay in Kampala, but it's going to Mbale, it's going to Rwenzori, it's going to Southwest, Kigezi, it's going to Mbarara, it's going to even to where the coffee is not farmed like Ik in the Far East, where it's Uganda, so they must also feel the heat or feel the wave of the coffee. So it's a conversation, and it begins now, and we must make sure that we stretch it.
Okay. Yes. So I'm seeing Elgon here.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the lights. Yeah. I'm seeing Elgon here.
Yes.
And that is Rwenzori.
Yes.
And the other one is?
Now, I run a specialty concept.
Oh, yes.
What do I mean a specialty concept? When you walk into our shop, you drink coffee by origin.
Oh,
what does that mean? Nice. When you drink coffee by origin, there is a story at the back that you have to follow.
The story.
Exactly. That story tells you how the coffee was traced. So in a specialty coffee, we don't drink coffee, let's say, by mistake. You must walk in, the barista must take you through a number of conversations for you to tap into what is right for you. You understand? So these are the concepts I really want us to share with Ugandans, and they can really appreciate their own farmed coffee. You get? So
to take you back to where you feel like a sense of belonging, a sense of need to be a part of it. I like this. This is Murchison Falls.
Yeah, Murchison Falls.
This is Elgon.
Part of this explains to you that coffee can also be done as a tourism activity. So people don't know Murchison Falls maybe, but they can be attracted by the crop. Can I go to Murchison Falls? Or can I go to West Nile to discover more? Can I go to Rwenzori? Can I hike? So these are all concepts that can be blended together along the coffee value chains. Coffee and tourism is one big attraction opportunity for Ugandans to tap in. And these are automatically jobs. You understand? Yes.
So as we talk by Uganda, build Uganda, these are some of the things that need to be looked into. How have we then engaged people in the conversation of the value chain? Even then, how have we then prepared the market, you know, for the end product as we talk about
end
this?
Product. As I said, one, we must look at the standards. We must wake up and craft standards, standards like meets the international standards. And when we're able to negotiate with AGOA, we know that our products are well ISO certified or locally certified. You understand? That's one. Two, we must look at the quality of the product. Are these players or are these people producing locally manufactured contents up to the standard? Are they meeting the specialty standard? There are guidelines, I mean. But it's, as I said, like we need to sit and fix them there. Because well, you can be attracted to the coffee business, but you also need a guideline to help you, like to digest all the challenges. So three, we must now create awareness heavily, and I'm here actually to appeal to the government. It shouldn't look any other means of accelerating the economic growth other than coffee and attracting young people into job markets. We must craft concepts that can campaign for Ugandan coffee aggressively and be sold at the international markets as a specialty, not as a premium, not as, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Gerald Katabazi,
Yes.
CEO of Volcano Coffee, and we've been looking at a number of things as with regards to how then do we get the young people engaged through the value chain and deal with a number of issues we're talking of, things like employment and a number of those, but also knowing that we have the market for our products to be consumed here as well, and not only export them, which is not bad also to export, but also have a balance here for the local consumers and also exporting it. My name is Rowena Kajumba.
Sorry to cut you short. Maybe we had wanted to adjust a little bit on 20 million bags.
Okay.
The government set target of 20 million bags. But again, short term, it had to move on to 2025, which is right. This is a very cool strategy that needs a backup. Needs a backup, because there's no, you can tell them that you're going to produce 20 million bags without infrastructure.
Okay.
Can you roof a house without a foundation?
No.
So these are the questions. It's a conversation that we must stay, and then we must get involved at some point as young people, including you.
Yes. So of course this conversation is quite lengthy. We cannot exhaust everything, but my time has run out. Maybe next time, of course. Rowena Kajumba is my name, from me and the entire business team. We thank you so much. See you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.